Good evening, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Elena. I'm Cognos Analytics Administrator, and this is our second Cognos Analytics session. I will cover a lot, but you'll need to watch this presentation or parts of the presentation more than once. All right? So let's go ahead and get started. Here is the agenda. We're going to talk about the decision tree model that you need to know for this week, right? Predictive modeling. Then you're going to talk about the dashboards. That's the topic for next week. Then one more topic is the story. I'll show you how to create the story. And there's a little shortcut that might save you hours, right? We'll get to it. Then also, of course, your questions and answers. All right? So, do you remember last time and also in the videos, right? We worked with claims and weather data. This data tracks the customer information, insurance customers, including their demographics, whether they're employed or not, their income, the state where they live in, right? Also, it tracks the vehicle information, what type of vehicle a person drives, and also the type of claim, right? And the total claim amount, that information. So last time we took care of missing values, right? Because the data had a lot of missing values, so we either removed the row altogether or we replaced the missing values with column average, right? Or for categorical column, we could perhaps have the value set to other if the value is missing. We defined some filters, right? We defined some calculations, we did some data groups, etc. We did a lot of data pre-processing, right? We did some data visualization, some explorations also. But the actual question is this. Suppose that I have a brand new claim. The customer submitted the brand new claim. Is there a way to use past data, right, to predict the total claim amount? How do we estimate what the total claim amount could be, right? So we have the data where total claim amount is known, right? So we need to do something. Perhaps we can build the model or something, right, that we can use to predict the total claim amount when it's unknown. That's the whole idea of predictive. See what I'm saying? So that takes us where? To the topic of decision trees, right? So what you will do is this. You have 3 big assignments remaining, right? So I'm using the account called Demo, but Demo has the same permissions that your accounts. So if you go to the content, right, take a look at this. In the team content, right, you have this folder, data for assignments. What you'll do is you're gonna pick the data set. See this unit 6 through 8? There are several data sets. You're gonna pick one and you're gonna stick with that data for the remaining 3 assignments, right? So you're gonna do some data pre-processing because some of these data sets have missing values. Like for example, if you look at life expectancy data, if you want to challenge yourself, right? So you're gonna do some pre-processing, you're gonna explain what you'll do, but then ultimately you have to pick the column of interest, and the goal is to build the model to predict that column of interest, right? So in the claims and weather data, as I mentioned before, the column of interest is what? It's total claim amount, right? So here is our claims and weather data exploration. Let's open it, right? And when you open it, do you remember that when you first open it, you are faced with this thing here, right? And it lets you select the starting point, right? And I selected total claim amount. It gave us a relationship diagram, yada, yada, right? Then what we looked at the driver analysis, right? And I mentioned here that we have one driver, two driver, and a combination. One driver is one column, right? That could be used, that is a predictor, let's say, right, of the column of interest. In this case, it's a total claim amount. Then I also showed you that you can uncheck these guys, right? And the driver, one driver with the highest predictive strength is important, because it will be used in decision tree, right? That we're gonna just look at. We're gonna look at shortly. So see this list, that location code, vehicle class, those are what? The one drivers. And those are used by the algorithm in the decision tree models that we're just gonna look at, right? So, but let's see, what is it? What is a decision tree model? It's a model, it's a hierarchy, right? That consists of root nodes. The root node represents all data. In other words, you're partitioning the data, right? You're partitioning, there is a top node, root node, internal nodes, and leaf nodes. So basically, it's going to show you the decision tree defines a set of rules that show how our data will predict, in our case, the total claim amount. We're going to find, the algorithm finds the best set of predictors. Not all columns in the data are good predictors, but the algorithm runs some analysis behind the scene to determine which predictors will work the best, right? The highest information gain, because this column, right, total claim amount, it's a numeric column, right? So the tree will be trained to predict the total claim amount based on values of predictors. Then we're going to traverse the tree from left to the right to read those rules. And the tree can be expanded to collapse. Sorry, each branch pass, it's a decision rule, and I'll show you, right? But this is just a little bit of theory. So each node, the records that fall in the same node, there are statistically similar, let's say, right? But for the categorical, for the numeric column, we are looking at the average of the node. And for the categorical, it's going to be dominant category. I'll show you. But note that, okay, there is a root node, right? Root node represents all data, right? So let's look. How do you do the decision tree? How do you add the decision tree? First of all, there are multiple ways. I can just click on here, create single card. Then I can go to the choose type. Then I'm gonna scroll down until I see this one. This is a decision tree, right? I select decision tree. Then what I need to do you remember? I need to specify the target, because when I click here, see that this is fields, right? If there is an asterisk, the field is required. I must specify what I am analyzing, right? So if I don't see it, I'm just going to do this total claim amount. I'll type this total claim amount. I can drag and drop total claim amount in the data slot. I could also drag and drop straight to visualization. It will pick up. Well, I don't like how it renders. So you would need to play around with the zoom a little bit. Okay. But okay, first of all, for this tree diagram, you can see the top 5 claims amount, or you can see the bottom 5, but I really don't like how it's rendered, so let's go ahead and collapse everything. And I end up adjusting zoom in order to be able to show you. But if any of you could figure out the better way, that would be great. But I don't like the way it's, it could be the browser issue, but let's try to reload. Don't do what I just did, but I reload it, like close this. Now what I'll do, I'm gonna collapse the branches. Hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, I'm going to collapse and we're going to start looking at this thing from the top. Maybe it's better, it looks better on the slide. See, maybe it looks better on the slide. So basically what's happening is that you have the root node, right? So this is the root. I have to use this because I need to show you, right? So here, this is the root node. The root node represents everything, all data, right? And when I click on this, root node, it's gonna give me the average value. It's gonna give me the average total claim amount for all data. See this? In this case, it's 433. See this 0.981. This is a total. This is the average claim amount for all data, right? And that's a standard deviation. This is the number of rows. If your data set is more than 10,000 rows, it will select random sample, all right? Now what I do? When I hover, it's supposed to show me the splitting column. I think I have a better card. Total claim amount, that's a driver analysis. This one is a slightly, nope, still the same. Anyway, so I'm gonna minimize it and I'm gonna try to change the zoom. Hopefully it will do it. Okay, now I see a little bit. So what is this? This is the location code. It's using the location code as a first splitting column. All right? Please work. Location code, see? This is a location code. That's what it's using as a first splitting column. Okay? So now it's gonna say, okay, what is the location code? Is it rural or is it suburban? If the location code is rural, it's gonna take the top pass. See this? It's gonna take the top pass. I click on this, there are no more children nodes. So I can tell this. If the location code is rural, average total claim amount is $109.95, and I have 19% of data that falls into that pass. Well, for some reason, total claim amount is unusually low for the rural location. Now let's look at the something. This is more complicated, right? Location code is urban, and I have 17% of data that falls into here, right? And for urban, average total claim amount is $329.66. Okay. Now what I can do, I can click on this and that's expense. Next, it's using the vehicle class as a predictor. Next driver, vehicle class. So now, if location is urban and let's hover, and it's a 2-door car or 4-door car, then the average total claim amount is $280, right? That's what it's coming down to. And it's showing the standard deviation. Do we continue? Yes. This continues until either there is no information gain, no more drivers, no more categories to split on, or if you end up with child nodes that have under 25 instances, or if your decision tree already has 36 nodes. That's a stopping criteria. So let's click here. It should split more, no? All right, then we can click on this one. It should split more. Okay, so this one is a vehicle class. This one I hover, and it's gonna show me that the vehicle class is what? Oops, come on. This is a little technical problem. Maybe the browser caution. I don't want to restart right now. But if you hover here, it says vehicle class SUV, luxury SUV, sports car, and this is the average claim amount, right? Okay, I can look at this branch here. So here, this represents vast majority of data. This one here, Oh, I see what else I did. I selected only the top 5. I should have selected all of them. There is an option to show only the highest 5 or the lowest 5 values. So if I scroll back, if I see this, right now I chose to show only the top 5 nodes. I'm gonna select all of them. Okay, I'm gonna change to all of them, and then I'm gonna change the zoom back to make sure that you can see it. That could be the browser. Oh no, that could be browser, guys. But the whole idea is that you traverse the 3 branches from the root node to the leaf node, right? The terminal node. And the node that at the end, the color code of the node indicates the average total claim amount. So that's called the leaf node. And they're also called the terminal nodes in the readings. Okay, so let's see. Well, no luck, right? Oh, reload. I forgot to click save, so hopefully it will do it. Okay, now I close this and I'm gonna adjust the zoom again. It's so bad when it does it. So now it's showing me, now it's the opposite. I need to minimize. Okay, guys. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to play around with the zoom, but you got the idea, right? You need to traverse the tree. So we had 3 location values. When the location is, see, this path is here, the location is suburban. Location code is suburban. That's where our vast majority of data is, 67% of data. So let's just discuss this piece here. See, this average total claim amount, right? But we are not done. We're using another column as a predictor, and it's a vehicle class. So I hover here, vehicle class. Is it a 2-door car or 4-door car? If it is, then more likely that's the average claim amount. But can we do better than that? Can we be more accurate than that? Well, yes, there is another column in the data that could add value to this, right? There is another column in the data that could add value to this, which is coverage. Okay, so if I traverse this rule from the top, right, so that's a total, then I got the location, which is suburban. Then I got here, which is it's a vehicle class, is a 2-door. It's let's collapse this, guys. Let's collapse this, guys. So the vehicle class is a 2-door car or 4-door car. Then how do I get in here? It's another condition, right? And what's another condition? And coverage is basic, right? Then this is my estimated total claim amount. I can do it again. And the next one. And here, the top one is marital status is married or divorced, right? See, so that's again. And we keep going until we reach the root node. Then you select this path. I wish you good luck. Hopefully you use another browser and it's working. Oh, here we go. I got it to work. Yay. Okay. So while it's working, let's look at this again. So here, this represents all data. This topic is important. This represents all data. The whole thing here, right? It represents all data. Then location is used for the force split. Depending on the location, we take the certain path, right? So this is a suburban location. As you can see, the claim amount is the highest if for suburban location and when the vehicle type is luxury, of course, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? Luxury cars, see this is $1,200. So I might be interested in analyzing that piece, right? Now it's working as expected. See, because this here, this bar shows which section of the tree is currently visible. So that started working. Now, see here, for this case, I also need to look at the employment type, right? And here, this is only 1% of data who are unemployed and driving luxury cars. And this is their expected total claim amount. See this? So now, suppose that I have a new data. What am I going to do? Right? I'm going to look at the columns that I know. So suppose that I know what location is. I'm going to take the path based on my location, right? Then, if I land here, perhaps, right? Then I need to take the path based on what? Vehicle type, that's the next one. Then, what's next depends on where I go. If I land in here, then coverage type is next, right? Or if I land here, coverage type is next. This is the dominant, right? If I look here, see this node, it represents 44% of my data. And that's an average. But can we do better than that? Of course, right? So I'm using coverage, then based on my coverage, I take passes, and I take pass based on marital status. So see that? That's a whole branch. So if I traverse these values above this horizontal line, right? If I traverse the nodes and pick up those values above this horizontal line, I get my rule, right? So whenever I have a new record, I use those rules to estimate the values for new unseen data. Another way to represent the rules is like this. See this? It shows the predicted value, the rule, right? The rule in English, let's say, and the number of rows. But I'm going to do this, right? I can sort this. So if location code is rural, then there we go. See, that's a predicted value, and that's percentage of data to which it is applied. Okay? So that's as the rules. And I can scroll through this, so whenever I have a new record, I'm gonna try to match with the rules that I have. I'm gonna try to find the most matching rule. Okay? So I'm gonna look, the idea is to use that model to predict on new data. And we want the model to be as accurate as possible. So it's gonna try to use more predictors until there are no more that add value, right? Or until you end up with less than 20. If you end up with less than 25 observations in a leaf node, then it's going to combine them. Like you saw, one of the locations does not have any more children nodes, right? It has to do with the number of observations that fall into that node. Because if we use another split, I might end up with less than 25. And also you have a limit, no more than 36 nodes in a tree, right? And this is another way to visualize it, but the difference here, this is called the tree sunburst. Hopefully I don't have to fight with the zoom again. So basically the inner circle represents the total claim amount. This is all data, right? So if I go to the tree, I can actually collapse it, and it's not cooperating again. I don't remember what I did to make it work last time. It just, oh, I know. Well, okay. Well, see this, so this is, I can minimize it like this. See that this is all data, right? And that's a location code values that you have. Now, if I go to the sunburst, I should see something similar to this, right? I should see the circle. I should be able to minimize it. Okay, in this version of Cognos, this is not synchronized. Okay, this is not synchronized with this. Okay, but here what it's showing me is this. The sunburst diagram shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies. At the moment, it's showing me the coverage type and the percentage. So for example, here, it's showing me that I have 27% of the cars with basic coverage types, right? Basic coverage type. And I also see the average total claim amount for the basic coverage type. all right? See this? That's what it did here. It's showing me the basic coverage type and then the extended, and this is another one, right? Premium. So that just shows the average. It not only shows the average claim amount, but it shows the percentage of data to which the rule applies. Then basic coverage is further split into the marital status, single, and merit, right? Single or married or divorced, right? So single, for the single, we have 9% of data, and this is the average total claim amount, right? So this is for basic coverage type, and individual is single. Then the average total claim amount is $450.19. And also we see the percentage to which the rule applies, percentage of the sample, right? And the number of observations. And same thing here, right? That just shows you the percentage of data to which this rule applies. The coverage type is also basic, right? This is a married or divorced, and that's a percentage of data. And I can keep going. I can keep on expanding this, right? It's going to add a new layer. If I keep on clicking it. Sometimes it just not, it could be the browser issue, guys. But the whole idea of this is showing the percentage of data to which the rule applies. And I can, usually when I expand it here, oh, now it's working. When I expand it here, see this? I usually can just, it usually expands this diagram, see this? But sometimes it's just not, it's a browser. Anyway, so you got this. You have the sandbox diagram, you have a decision tree diagram, you have the rules. You have 3 different views here. Another thing that I have to mention is this. So if you go to the fields here, if you click here, sometimes you can edit scope. If for some reason you don't want a certain field to be used as part of as one of the predictors, you can click on edit scope. What's going to happen? Those are the fields that are used for analysis, the selected fields for analysis to build a decision tree, right? I know that some of these columns are calculated. If I don't want to use, this is a data group, right, that we created. I don't want this to be used in analysis. I can just click here and do remove, right? Or if you see a calculation or a column in here that you want to be used for analysis, you can just select and edit, right? Well, in this case, I don't have anything that is not in. Well, see this, like if I click here, if I click on the column here, it's going to show me if that column is already selected, right? Total claim amount is a target. Of course, I cannot select the target as a predictor, right? You cannot have the column predict itself, right? But if I have something like a calculation or anything that I want to use instead of the original column, I have this option. I can add, right? I can add or remove. Or like, for example, if I don't want the claim amount, there is also claim amount. I don't want this to be used. I click on remove. If I change my mind, I can always add, right? I just drag and drop and it will re-add, okay? I drag and drop and it's going to re-add, okay? Or I can remove all if I want to. If the data set is big, if the number of columns is large, maximum is 250 for the selection. So I can change which columns I want and which columns I don't want to use as my predictors, right? So I showed you that. So that's that, right? So let's say. But one thing to keep in mind, there is a difference between numeric columns and the categorical columns. If I was going to predict the categorical column, I know it's not the best example. It's not the best example, but it's an example. Let's assume I want to predict the employment status. Well, this is going to be different. How different is it going to be? Because here, instead of color darkness, I see different color for each category. Employment status is categorical, right? The process is similar. The process to read the rules is similar, but the value, it's going to be the dominant value of the node is going to be the class, because this is, if I was going to predict the employment status as an example, employment status is categorical. There are 5 values, right? In this case, we are predicting a class, not the average value, but the class, right? We would have to traverse the tree starting from the root. See, the root also represents all data. Then you would need to look at how it's splitting, right? It's looking at the income. If income is under $25,000, it's taking this node. And note which class is dominant in here. For instead of showing the average value, you see the percentage of data that falls into each class. Well, the reason I'm showing you this is because you have some data to choose from, and there are some data sets where the column of interest is categorical. So I need to show you the difference. So for categorical, instead of showing the average, right, it's going to show the percentage of data that falls into each category. That's a big difference. See, disabled, employed, etc. Right then, based on, then it's using the marital status as the next one, next split. If it's married or divorced, then it's this. You take this path, see? And at the end, when you reach the terminal node, you need to look at which category is the most dominant. So here it's employed. So how would you read this rule? You would traverse from here, right? And you would need to, you can highlight this path to make it easier for you. See, I click on this, it's going to highlight this path, then I traverse it. I would say that if income is under 25K something, and if the person is married or divorced, right? Then I keep going, taking this path. If response is yes, then I go take this one. If effective due date is for the coverage is on that list, right? See, the goal is to come here, right? So next one, that's an effective. I choose this one is sorry, this one monthly premium, then effective due date, right? And then I come here, okay? Monthly premium again. But I'm just showing you an example. You traverse the tree and you read what it says on each node. But again, if you just want to see the rules, it's here, see? Target category. So suppose that we have a brand new record. How do we find employment status? We're gonna see which rule fits our data the most, right? So the dominant color code is going to be the value, right? And you've got the tree sunburst, you got the same idea here, okay? I have to show you that. So now, well, we did a lot of data exploration, right? And I'm gonna look, so that's in the slide. The decision tree, we did a lot of data exploration, right? And I'm gonna give you more examples as we cover the next topic. But we covered this. Now we're gonna go to the next topic. One thing to note that this is, what is this? It's an exploration workbook, right? I have a bunch of cards, but there is no way to select a data point in one card, right? Like for example, if I want to look at the suburban, If I want to look only at the suburban location, there is no way to select suburban location in one visualization and make the rest of the visualization show only suburban. There is no way to change the color. If I look at the properties, I don't see the options to change the visualization appearance. No way, right? So we need something more advanced. I cannot change the layout, right? So that is going to lead us to next topic, right? Because see here, I also cannot add text. I cannot add widgets, right? Another thing that I can do is, and I will do because that will help us with the next topic is this. See this visualization? Last time I mentioned there is something called pins. Pins is like a favorite. So I'm going to add this to the pins. It's processing pin right now. So if I have a visualization that I want to be able to use in my data presentation, right? I can just pin it and then reuse it from pins. This is a set of pins. Pins is nothing but it's a way to bookmark the visualizations that you want to be used in the presentations, right? Well, we're gonna look at the dashboards. But that's taking us to the next topic. Next topic is a dashboard. Dashboard is a way to present our data, right? We want something to present insights about one, and we present the insights on one or more tabs. We can add text, we can add widgets, we can add images. Well, we cannot copy and paste the image, but we need to specify the image URL on the web, right? You may use the grid lines to align things. You may change the visualization appearance properties. And the properties that are available depend on visualizations that you're looking at. Unlike the exploration, you may add text. You may also select if you're using the same data source or visualizations that use the same data source. You may select one data point in one visualization, and the same data point will be selected in all visualizations that use the same data as a source. Right? You may toggle between edit and view mode, and I'll show you. Okay. And then similar to exploration workspace, you can add calculations, you can add navigation paths. But what you need to keep in mind is that what you add, the property changes and the calculations that you add in a dashboard will be available only for the dashboard. They won't be available if you want to create another dashboard. So let's go ahead and create a dashboard, right? Oops. Okay. Oh, this is another slide that should have been before. This is about the key drivers. We talked about it, right? We talked about edit drivers. I swapped the slides by accident. Current topic is dashboard. So how do you create a dashboard? Well, there are multiple ways. So let's close this exploration. You notice that if you go back here to the content, you have this menu, new. You can select new dashboard. But if you do it this way, you will have to specify the data source. You will have to specify what data you use as a source. But I want to keep my life simple. I can just go to my claims and weather data module, right? And I'm going to do here, and I'm going to click on create dashboard. See this? Can I do that? Why not? Now, there are two types of dashboards. We will use tabbed. And it will make perfect sense why when I showed you a little shortcut between your last two assignments. I'll show you a little secret, okay? But to know that secret, your classmate, you need to either attend this meeting or watch the recording, okay? Do not share it with anybody who does not watch the recording. I'll show you something, okay? But it's, Now, tab dashboard, as the name says, it has multiple tabs. What is infographics? It's a long page, see? Infographic is a long page. You have options here for the layout templates. This is a free-form template, right? as the name says, it's just freeform. The size does not scale based on the screen size. The others are the predefined. Keep in mind that the more stuff you put on the same tab, the harder it's going to be to read your dashboard, the longer the page can take to load, okay? I like 2x2. This is my favorite. But, it's just a matter of preference. I'm going to select 2x2, and I'm going to click on Create. We're going to create our first dashboard. What is this here? This here is a data source, okay? How does it know? Because I selected the Create Dashboard option from the data source menu, right? So it picked up the data source for me. That's the reason why I like. Do you remember last time we created this navigation path that allows us to drill down state and location code within the state? Right? We created the standalone calculation. It's also available here. Then, if you look here, all these data groups that we created, all those calculations are available. That's a selectable filter, Jesus funnel. And if I did not use the descriptive names, there is no way to know what it is, right? So you have to use the descriptive name. Well, then here you have a different icon indicate the column type, right? And similar for the columns, you can use the properties, including how the column is being summarized, right? Dashboard has two modes. View mode is just like a viewing as a customer, let's say. And edit mode is when you're making changes. Here is to view the data source. You click here. Well, those are the visualizations that you pinned, right? Here is to add new visualizations from scratch. Then you've got the widgets, right? And you've got those, here is to add text, to add image, and etc. Okay, and the shapes. I'll show you as much as I can, okay? So basically here, you can add another tab. See, I add another tab. New tab does not have to have the same layout. Well, I just love 2x2, okay? So I'll just stick with the same. But, well, at any time, what you could do, you can click on the tab and you can edit the tab title at any time. You could also duplicate the tab, or you can change the template if you want, or you can delete the tab altogether, right? What else you've got here? You have the properties, yes. So at the moment, I don't have any visualizations. I don't have anything selected. So those are going to be the properties of the dashboard as a whole. I can change my layout, right? And I can change how the tabs look like, right? I want to show the tabs at the top, so let's leave it like this. I want this to the right of the tile, but see, if I wanted to, I could change where the tabs are located. I want to change the title color to red. Then I want to show the bar in green, the bar selection indicator. I can change the fill color if I want, right? Well, this is just showing you what you can do, or I can do select the custom color. Well, I'm mainly changing this for the purpose of the demonstration, and I click apply. Well, what did I just do? Well, I changed the color, see? Then, if you want to, you can style the individual tab, right? Because the properties that I just changed, they apply to all tabs. I can also change the color of this specific tab at a time, right? Etc. And if I wanted to, I can, like for example, for this tab, let's go ahead and add an icon, right? I'm just showing you what can be done, and I added it for the demonstration purposes, okay? The properties you see depend on what you have currently selected, right? So that's how to create a new dashboard. I like it this way because you don't need to specify the data source. It picks up the data source. I listed things. I listed something, just the key differences. But remember, the tabbed infographics are both interactive. But what does it say here? That's gonna save you a lot of time. But I'll show you later. Okay. Well, those are the templates. I showed you that piece. I showed you the interface, and you also have this little friends undo redo. You can undo redo the latest changes. I have not saved it. Let's just save it. And let's just call it claims and weather. Claims. I'm gonna call it something different because I prepared a sample dashboard for you for the next part of the demo, but let's say claims and weather, right? Now, am I going to save it in the team content? No way. Why is this grayed out? Because you can't save it to the team content. All work that you do must be saved to my content, right? I'm gonna save it to my content, right? And I'm just gonna click on save. This is saving to my content. Well, you're gonna see this pop-up, that's fine. Okay, so I saved it right now. I saved the dashboard to my content. Okay, so this is how to save. Always save your work, always, okay? And I'll be showing you visualizations, but I have to show you how to save first. Now, dashboard properties. I showed you general dashboard properties, right? Now I'm gonna show you ways to add visualizations. I can do this, right? I can go to my pins. Well, see this? I just drag and drop my pin. There we go. So that's one way to add visualization. I drag and drop my pin. I pinned visualizations, and there we go. See? And then with time, you're gonna have more pins, right? So you can search through the pins. See, like I can search, for example, decision tree, right? I can search. Then also I can filter my pins that I added today, modified today, yesterday, past week, etc. So if I have a lot of pins, I can filter through them. I can search for them, right? See this? I pinned visualizations, and I believe if I make changes to that visualization, the pin should be updating. I need to test that, okay? So that's a pin, and I can drag and drop, but it will update only in the pins. It might not update it here in the dashboard, okay? So I added the visualizations from the pin. How else can I add visualization? Of course, I can go here and I can try to do the related visualizations, right? What else I can do? Well, first of all, let's minimize this, see? Let's minimize this. Let's go back to the first tab. This is what I can do. I can go here to visualizations and I can add a brand new visualization from scratch. For example, I want to add a pie chart. I drag and drop the pie chart, right? Well, now I have several options. I can drag and drag my fields here. So for the pie chart, what do I have to specify? I must specify the segment size, which column I want to use for the size, and which column I want to use for the segment. If you see this asterisk here, it means that you must visualization. If you don't find anything in here, you cannot see visualizations. And I can drag and drop the column here, or I can also click on fields and I can specify my columns here. So in this case, I want my segments to be the state, right? So I'm gonna drag and drop the state for the segments, and I want the size to be the number of people. How do I get the number of people? Well, I know that I have a column called customer, and if I look at my properties, how is this column being summarized? It's going to do the count, right? See this for each customer, it's going to do the count. So I'm going to take customer and drag and drop in here. The width of this slice, it's going to be what? The percentage of customers. But wait a minute. Why I don't see the percentage? I only see the number of people. But the purpose of the pie chart is to see what? The percentage. I need to do something, don't I? Of course, I can go to properties, right? And remember, I can go to properties. Here in the visualization, there is a section called chart. Okay. Now, in the chart, there is an option to display percentages. I want to show percentages. See that? That's one of the properties that I can change, right? I can just change I can show percentages as one of the properties. That's a starting angle. Then I can make it look like a donut. What is this in the middle? It shows the total number of customers. Well, remember that this is a count distinct, right? Because this is how the data has been summarized. I remember when we looked at the number of rows, it's more than this. But the same customer can have more than one claim, right? We are summarizing it by distinct number of customers that showing in the middle, it's showing the total. If I wanted to, I could change my fonts. Right now, the font is default, right? I can change add the shadows to the label if I want to. I don't like how it looks like, so I'm not gonna do this, right? Inner label title, it's this. I can change the inner label title if I want to, right? I can also change the label. Well, I want to see, like if I want to do this, well, it won't work because I enabled the percentages. Okay, I want to see the percentages. Display percentages. I can hide inner label or I can show inner label. I can hide label values or I can show label values. Right? Label location, I want it inside. I can also show labels outside like this if I want, but I'm gonna stick with the inside. Then, well, elements colors. I can change my color codes if I want. Then there are also the general properties. Those are the appearance properties. What appearance? It's a border color. It's just the visualization itself. So if I minimize it, it's this border color, see? And I can change the background. So this is going to be under the general properties. And I can change the layout and position. What else can I change? This is the title. For the title, I can change how the text looks like. For example, I can make it bold and I can make it centered, right? It's just an example. And I can change the color, etc. So this is what for this text. And I can change color, or I can also change the size, well, etc. Right? I can go back to visualizations. It's easier if you change it to the focus mode. Then sometimes I find a little bit distracting when the legend shows at the start, because that's the first thing that goes in my eyes. So sometimes maybe I want to change the position of where my legend is, right? I can do at the end, or I can do at the start, but instead of showing it at the top, I want to show it on the right, right? That's one of the possible properties that I can change. Overall background color, of course, right? Minimize that. So that's just the pie chart, right? That's one way to add the visualization. Also, what you can do, I showed you the video on assistant, right? I created the video on assistant. You can use assistant from the welcome page. And I also, in one of the video, I showed you how to use assistants inside the data exploration. You can similarly, you can use assistant inside this dashboard. I can click here and I can do, oh, see this? It remembers the past questions as I was playing around. I can go clear. Well, still it's going to recognize the data that I'm working with, and I can do something like suggest questions, right? Remember, if I don't know which questions I want to ask, I can go to assistant, I can say suggest questions, and it's gonna suggest me, oops, I did not run, suggest questions, click on arrow to run. It's gonna give me some questions, like for example, which location code has stop claim amount? I can click on that. Well, see this, it's now going to show me the claim amount by location code. What can I do? What do you think I can do? Can I just drag and drop visualization? I need to go back to visualization here, right? So that's a visualization. Drag and drop. Oh, another thing is that when you do that, hover the mouse cursor over this line. Then the size of the visualization is going to be the panel size, right? Well, most of you are probably tired of the purple color. How can we fix that? I can select the properties here and see this, I can change the heat palette to purple, just an example, right? Oh, it's not purple, it's magenta. Let's use the good, let's use the proper names. Oops. I select this and I want magenta. For some reason, it's going to take a while to refresh. Oh, element color. Let's do this. Let's select element color magenta. Okay, there we go. I updated it because probably most of you are tired of purple color by now. There we go. And similarly, I can change the visualization property, general properties such as layout if I want to show this, right? Now, but what happens if I'm no longer interested at the total claim amount by location code? If I want to look at total claim amount by the state, no problem. I can go to the fields and I can change. I can remove location code. And another thing is that I notice that here, if I know my claim, if I know my column, I can just click here and I can type my column here. I can type it like state. See what it does? I noticed it by accident. So I can just select the state here. Well, and it's going to give me this little bar for state, right? I can also do this. I can pin this visualization. And to pin this visualization, look at this. I select it and I can edit it to my pin. I added it to the pin, right? Let's save. Now, what I'll do is I can go to the second tab, right? And I'm gonna go to pins. I have two pins, right? It's caching, obviously. That was the pin I just added. I drag and drop. See this? I'm reusing the same visualization on another tab. Now what? I can select this. See this? Those here are insights about the visualizations, analysis. It's giving me insights. And I can, well, see this? Well, it's showing me, it's showing me the insights on the visualizations. I can turn it on and off, right? I can turn it on and off to show the insights on top of visualizations. If for some unknown reason, instead of a total claim amount, if I want to see average incomes by state, I can remove this column. And now I can type here income. That's one way. Or I can drag and drop the field from data source. I can select income. Wait a minute, big problem here. What is it doing? If I look at the income in here, if I click on the summarized, by default, it's doing the sum, okay? By default, it's taking the sum of incomes per state. I'm going to change it to average. Okay? I want the average. But see this, I want the average income by the state. Okay? Now what? Intentionally, I want to have visualization by the state. Here and in the second tab, I'll show you why. All right, so, well, there is something called a filter. We can apply, earlier I mentioned you can apply filters to your dashboard. There are different types of filters, and this is different from applying one-time filter, as I showed you in one of the videos. There is a video where I create summary visualization and apply just the one-type filter, non-reusable, right? This is a dashboard filters, right? If I click here, see that this area can be minimized and collapsed. I can apply the filter to the whole dashboard, and I can filter the dashboard one tab or all tabs. I created visualizations that have a state on purpose because I want to show you how filtering the state is going to work. So I'm going to go here to my columns, right? And I need to find the state column. This is a state column. First, I want to filter all tabs. I'm going to drag and drop filter here, all tabs. And I want to select Missouri and Oklahoma, these two states. Done. Watch. This pie chart got updated. It's updated, right? And what does it show me now? It shows me the total number of customers who live in Oklahoma or Missouri. And this is the percentage of customers who live either in Oklahoma or Missouri, right? And if I hover, I can still see number of customers. So the visualization got filtered, it got adjusted and filtered based on the states that I selected. Same here, see that? Now my dashboard has two tabs. I go to the second tab and it was also filtered. I might be thinking, wait a minute, I was on the first tab when I added the filter, but I added the filter to apply to all tabs. See, it's all tabs. Let's go back. I'm going to remove it now. I'm going to do delete filter. Okay. What am I going to do now? Let's apply the same filter, but we're going to apply only to this tab. So I go to the data source and I need to find state, right? State. If I knew how to spell. All right, so I go drag and drop the state to this tab. And I'm going to select Iowa and Kansas this time. Well, what happens? This visualization, both of them got adjusted, right? But not this one. Why this visualization still shows those states? Because I don't see the filter here. I didn't apply this filter to this tab. I only applied filter to the first tab, right? See that? I hope it makes sense, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna delete this filter and I'm going to do something else. Well, I mentioned to you earlier that visualizations are on the same tab, are connected if we use the same as a source, the same data as a source. What do I mean? Well, here I'm going to select Missouri. I selected Missouri. The same data point was selected in another visualization. If I select the data point in one visualization, the same data point will be selected in all visualizations because these visualizations are what? They are linked. How can I do this? See this, I click here, it shows widget connection. If I want to, I can break my connections. I can just select this and break. Why would you do that? Well, suppose that sometimes maybe I want to compare states side by side, perhaps. I want to select one. I can perhaps I could duplicate this visualization and I can select Missouri on one and Kansas in the other. And maybe I want to do comparison by state. That's possible, right? But let's undo the damage that we just did. You can click undo button to undo, or you can click on view widget connection, select this widget, and I'm gonna add this to the first group. I'm gonna merge this again. So basically the idea is you select one data point and it will allow you to select the same data point in all visualizations. Okay? I hope it makes sense. So this is just how to add visualizations. And I'm gonna show you the widgets too. But this is a pie chart and I summarized some of the properties of the pie chart, okay? I summarized. I'm gonna show you more advanced stuff. I'm gonna show you text, well, for the text, the dashboard is in edit mode. I need to unclick this. For the text, this is what you do to add text. You're gonna click on custom. Oops, you're gonna click on the widgets. It's in here. Text. I just drag and drop the text here. Well, what do I do next? Well, I need to type. I need to type something like this. I love this class. Something like that, right? That's a text. What properties does this text have? Huh? Is it gonna have the labels properties? Legend properties? No. The text has properties of the text, right? Like a text color, different styles, alignment, etc., right? So you can play with that around. And that's for the images, but I'm gonna show you the image when I show you a different example. Okay? So that's the properties. But, well, let's save this, right? For the purpose of the rest of the demonstrations, I prepared another dashboard for you, and I called it Claims and Weather Dashboard. Let's open this one. Okay, so let's view this. This dashboard contains 5 tabs. If you work on a dashboard for your assignments, think of an outline, right? Think of it, of what you want to present about your data. And each tab could be a piece of the presentation, let's say, right? Now, you might be wondering, what happened to the properties? Why I don't see the properties in here? Well, remember I told you the dashboard has 2 modes, edit mode and view mode. Right now, my dashboard is in a view mode. I can preview this dashboard as an end user. Fancy, isn't it? All right. Customer demographics, different pie chart, different drivers, yada yada, different visualizations. And I'm reusing the predictive models from last assignment, right? So this is my assignment 5, right? I'm reusing it. I have a bunch of. So now let's take this to the edit mode, okay? Now, well, what is this? This here is the text box, and the text box has certain properties I just showed you, right? That's an image. For an image, you cannot copy and paste the picture directly. Instead, you would have to specify the image link. So this is a link of an image online. So if I was going to paste this image URL, this is a picture. So what you need to do is you go to Google and Google the photos that you want, and then you would need to right click on the image and copy the image link. Make sure that the image link ends with JPG or PNG or something like that. It has to be a valid image. And you specify it in the URL, and the image will show in this dashboard. You can add images. You can also drag and drop the shapes if you want, right? I'll let you play with it. But I'm showing you what you could do. And if you were going to add the video, you would have to add the video URL, right? Each video on YouTube has a URL. You could just add that, right? So now this is just to show the averages. I have that summary visualization that I discussed in another video. Here, this is a different visualization type. That's crosstab, okay? So for the crosstab, you need to specify which columns you want, which field you want to use for the column. I want to use the column as a location code, is a column heading, and every row I want to be the vehicle class, and I want to show the average claim amount in the values column, right? Then if I go to the properties, I change the summary field color to yellow, okay? I did something similar here, but I added one piece in this visualization. I added one piece. What did I add? Well, more than one. Well, what did I do in here? I went to the fields, column is location code, but for the rows, I want to show vehicle class. And inside the vehicle class, I want to show the coverage. So here, I'm going to have two summaries. First summary is for the vehicle class. See that? For two-door cars, I see the summary, right? Average claim amount. Then I should see the average claim amount for the see this? I'm breaking down for the four-door cars and basic basic coverage type, rural location. This is going to be the average claim amount. Now, here, important, this is not the average of averages. This is the average of all claims for two-door car and rural location. This is not an average of 87, 100, and 131. This is the average of all of them, okay? All of them. All data for the two-door car, for the four-door car and rural location, okay? That's what it is. And I keep on scrolling, see this, it's broken down. Each row, see this, it's a, I want vehicle class, then within vehicle class, I want to show the coverage type, see? That's what I want to do, this matrix like this. Then I did something else. If I go to the properties, right, and I need to select the visualization, and I want to go to the chart, there is something called, well, I can show height summaries if I want to, right? This is just to show height summaries. What else did I do in here? I changed the default column width. I believe default width was 110 or 120. I edited this. But the most important thing that I changed was the coloring, right? So here, available data, it's showing total claim amount. I did something called conditional color. I added two rules, okay? Well, see this? Those are the rules. I said this, if in a rule, I said if my value is greater, let's select this rule, right? I just clicked on the add to add the rule, and I said this, if the value is greater than 1000, I want to show in red, and I want to indicator with the upper symbol. Then I have another rule, if the value is under 300, I want to show, I want to show it is a down arrow, see? And I want the color to change to green. Okay, so this is the way it allows you to define the conditional colors, okay? I'm just showing, and you can change the color opacity, etc. And if I wanted to, I could add another rule and I could keep going, okay? So this is just the conditional colors. Those are the properties that I'm gonna let you play with it. But I created this for a reason, right? And I numbered it for a reason, for a good reason. I did this numbering, 1 through 4, 5, right? Those are just the visualization. And to get this one, if we look at the fields, I specify the bar, the lanes, and then another one is I want to do a separate row for location code. And basically, I came up with a subtopic that I want to present, right? Now what? Now what? Well, but the problem is here, I have a set of tabs, but I don't have the transition between tabs, right? I don't specify when I want the certain visualization on a tab to appear or disappear, right? I cannot. I'm limited pretty much to what well, there are some limitations of the dashboard. I cannot do animations, can I? No, right? I cannot specify the transitions between the tabs. I just physically have to click. There is no timeline, right? I cannot specify, for example, I want to watch the second tab for 3 minutes. I want to be on another tab for 5 minutes. There is no way to specify it, right? So we have to do something else, and it's going to take us to another topic, right? Big topic, the last assignment. Well, you have to, I showed you this, right? I showed you links. Story. What is a story? It's an overtime narrative. You can create the story from scratch, right? Well, to do that, you're gonna go do this. See, to create the story from scratch, let's forget about this. To create the story from scratch, there are multiple ways. So you go to content, you're on my content, you can click here on new, and you can select story. Or you can also see this here, new, and you can select story. If you do it this way, well, okay, then you have to specify the template. There are two templates, and I spelled it out for you. I specified two templates for you here. Slideshow, each scene, and I'll show you what a scene is. But basically, well, the story is similar. If you select the slideshow layout, it's gonna look like as if it is PowerPoint presentation. It's an animated presentation with numerous visualizations, right? It's an overtime narrative. So you see insights without exporting visualizations from an application to another. You may reuse the pinned visualizations. Yes. So as you're working on your dashboard, you can pin visualizations and reuse them, right? But I show you the better way to reuse the dashboard, okay? So you may configure when objects appear, disappear, and there are multiple ways to create a new story, but you're gonna love this new bullet point when the time comes to your last assignment. Your task is to do excellent job on assignment for the week 6 and assignment for week 7. Because if you do an outstanding job on assignment for week 7, secretly, you almost have an assignment for week 8. And I'll show you the shortcut shortly. But first of all, we need to cover the concept, right? So story. You create a new story just from the new menu, right? Then you have to specify the transition style. And I will show you the difference, but it's if you do the slideshow, it will be each slide is on a different canvas. Guided journey will reuse the same canvas, and I'm gonna show you, no worries. But this is the interface. Let's just create a new story from scratch first. Well, I'm gonna click on here just for right now, and I'm gonna click on create. What can I do? Nothing much at this point. Why? Did I specify the data source? No. So let's specify the data source. I would have to click here, and I would need to select the source. I go to my content, and what is the data source? I want to use claims and weather data module. Why? Because I did some data pre-processing. I took my time last time to do data pre-processing and to do calculations in there. So I just go, bang, I add my data source, right? Now what? Well, from scratch, I would need to add visualizations, right? But the story is organized into the scene. What is a scene? A scene is a collection of objects. It could be text visualizations, different graphics, right? So that's a scene. It's a set of visualizations. Okay. Well, I can add, well, here I just have to add the title. I can just type in claims and weather, right? If you follow the from scratch approach, think about this, create your outline. So each scene is going to be a bullet point in the outline of the presentation, right? And then you're going to create each scene. This is just to add a new scene, right? And when you add a new scene, you could select what the layout, right? I can select the layout. Well, see here, this is a text visualization. Well, I can do that. Now what? It says create visualization, right? So let's minimize this here. See this is your data. It's similar. It's similar to what we looked at earlier, right? To the dashboard in the sense that you also have a filters area where you can filter all scenes, right? Where you could also see you can collapse and expand this, right? So now if I want to do visualizations, well, one way to do it if you want to do it from scratch is, well, that's not the way I like to do it, but I can just go ahead and I can drag and drop location code. Now from here, I would do fields and I would edit my visualization, okay? I would edit it. So in here, perhaps I can go here and I can change my visualization type, right? Like for example, I wanted, if I want to do the line, well, for the line, I need to specify x-axis and I need to specify the y-axis, etc., right? I only have an x-axis. I never specified the y-axis, right? So I need to drag and drop the column here, or I can just go and drag and drop the column here. So like, for example, I want to do claim amount, problem, because I edited the total claim amount, but I did not edit this column, how it's being summarized, right? Isn't it annoying? Every time I create a visualization, I need to edit it. So how do we fix that? In general, how would you fix that? You would need to make this change in the where data module, okay? Well, this is a little bit laborious where you have to go in and add one thing at a time, yada, right? And I'm gonna show you the timelines for this thing, but I'm gonna show you with another example. But take a look at this. Then you have to add the text, etc., right? So that's one way to do your last assignment. You can add one thing at a time, just one thing at a time, right? And keep on adding visualizations to it. And for each thing, just select the layout, right? But this is not how, this is not the fastest way to do it. But let's just say, close it, not saving it. But let me show you the shortcut. This is the claims and weather dashboard that I just looked at, right? Do you see the 5 tabs in here? I did a careful planning. I took my time to do the second to last assignment. Now what? Now I want my story to look something like this. I want to have the title on the first page. On the next page, I want to look at the average. On the next page, I want to look at the predictive models. Then I want to look at the customer demographics. And then I want to look at the visualizations for the drivers, right? I know some of the drivers and I want to look at the visualizations. I want to clone the structure. Take a look. Watch what I'm going to do right now. See this? Do you see the save as a story? I'm gonna select the slideshow for a second. I'm gonna go select. Now what? Now I need to specify where I want to save it. I want to save it in the my content. By default, it's gonna take the dashboard name and it's gonna prefix it with a story. And now watch. I'm just gonna click save. So if I took my time to do an excellent job on second to last assignment, right? I can just reuse all this work. Bang, I've got this. And what did I get? That story. Do you see this? I have 5 scenes, and each scene in the story, each tab in the dashboard became a scene in the story. And see this? I'm like previewing it now. It's in the preview mode. It's in the preview mode right now because see this edit button is not green, right? I'm just playing, but didn't I mention that there are timelines? Yes, and I'll show you. But see, this is just to play. I'm playing the scenes. There are no animations because I have not set it up yet. Let's set them up, right? So let's click on the edit, right? And also, well, isn't that nice? It also picked up the data source. It's using the same data source that I use for data module. I don't need to do all that busy work, right? And I've got all my calculations. I've got everything that I had, that I was available for me in a dashboard. See, it just transferred over. It's neat, isn't it? So now, what we have not looked at is the scenes timelines. There are 5 scenes, and the scene timelines allows you specifying where the things can appear or disappear. Well, just as an example, let's look, Jesus, let's look at this one, right, as an example. So perhaps that I don't want to see all 4 of these guys at the same time, right? I want to see maybe, perhaps, perhaps I want some of them, maybe I want the first one to appear only half of the time, right? So let's look. See here on this slide, on this thing here, I have 4 objects, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. On the timeline, if I click here on this arrow, it expands, it shows the timeline. I have a little bar, I have a bar that corresponds to each object in a scene. I have 4 objects, right? Bar corresponds to each object. By default, the scene length is 5 seconds. How do I know? See, this is a current time marker, right? And it ends here at 5 seconds. If I want my first object, average total claim amount, the whole average value, to show only for 2 seconds, I drag and drop this guy here. That will change this to disappear after 2 seconds, right? Suppose that I want this total claim amount by location code to show after 2.5 seconds. I drag and drop the edge here. And if I want my scene to be longer than 5 seconds, which I scroll here, I take this edge and I drag and drop. In this case, just suppose that I want to show the last 2 for 6 seconds, right? Well, now what? See, this is a marker. It shows where I'm currently at in the scene. At the moment, I am at the beginning, right? Oh, this is the average summary. If I go up here, see this, I'm showing average summary. Let's just minimize it for a second. I want to see this all 4, right? So let's play this scene. See this, I'm playing, remember, this will disappear, disappears. See that? I just played and this disappeared and this shows, right? Also, this is just on the same scene. I can specify when things appear or disappear. What is this? Those are the playback options, right? I can play all scenes. It just when I'm going to the view mode, I want to view all the scenes, right? And I have those are, if I don't have anything selected, those are the properties overall. And I can do the transition sweep. So let's see what's gonna happen. I have to save this first. Now let's go back. I want to close the timeline. See, those are my scenes. I'm going to select the first scene. Swap to view mode. Properties will disappear, of course. See, I'm in the view mode right now. Let's go ahead and hit play. See what happens. See, that's the first thing, 5 seconds. See this? That's a transition. And this one, we specified the timer on this one, see? See that? Now it goes to the next one. And etc., right? And another one. And how many do I have? I have 5, right? I wanted to, I could keep on adding to this, but this is a good starting point. You're gonna save a lot of time, see? If you do it this way. So now let's go back to the edit mode, and I'm going to change the template, okay? I'm gonna go to the edit mode, and I'm gonna go properties, and I'm going to change the slideshow to guided journey to show you the difference. And I'm gonna pick the layout. Well, I like this one for some reason. Your preferences could be different or not this. Oh yeah, yes, this one. Well, why do I like this one? Well, because I can preview it like this. I like this one because I can preview it nicely. I can see several of this. See, like if I'm going to click, Jesus, I can see almost all of them, and I can adjust the zoom. I can zoom down, etc. I can adjust, and I can see several on one page. Oh, and that data tracing, it shows the data. You can preview data that's being visualized. But see what happens. Let me do this. I'm in the view mode. Let's play. Look what happens. Do you see why it's using different canvas? This is gonna slide like this. Well, you would need to maximize, but I'm just showing you when you actually play it for your demonstration, you want to play around with the zoom. And also what you could do is you can do the full screen with this. I'm not doing it right now because well, take a look. This is what you could do. See this will take you to the full screen. I don't want to mess up the screen sharing, but if you click here, see that thing, the slide out, you can do the full screen, and maybe that will give you a better picture, okay? When you play the story. You need to play around with the zoom, okay? But I'm showing you right now the differences between two layouts, okay? You would need to, trust me, you would need to play with the zoom, okay? So, oops, what did I do? For some unknown reason, it's doing something that I don't want to do. See, you can change, sometimes adjusting, minimizing, and resizing fixes the problem too. Oh yeah, it fixed the problem a little bit now. Okay, why do I see this blank? Because it played the second scene, and I said that at the end I just want to see these two visualizations. Okay. Oh, see this? I click on this to zoom in to show more. You have to play around with the zoom, okay? Etc. Play around with the zoom as you do in the assignment, okay? But I'm trying to show you the concept, okay? Let's save that. All right. So that's about the stories. Let's see. I did not put much slides about the stories because a lot of concepts, they repeat themselves. Very important concept about the story is the timeline, because that's a main point. You can edit, you can set up the animation on a slide. And again, you can use different visualizations. You can use this assistant, right? Drag and drop visualizations from assistant. You can use your pins, and you can use the different visualizations from the library. But in order to edit, remember you have to go to the edit mode, right? This button here. Then you need to see this, you expand this here, right? Oh, another nice thing about this guided journey is that I can click on this slide here, right? I can click here and I can see all my students. That's what I like. That's a piece I like here. I can see all my students. See, then I click here. It takes me to another scene. See? Oh, take a look at this. Like when I select the scene, I can click here to expand it. See? And then I can do my playing around and editing here. Okay? Oh, that's a visualization. I'm expanding the visualization. Sorry. See this? I click on visualization and I can change the specific visualization. Those are the driver analysis for total claim amount, remember? Etc. You have to schedule some time to play around with this. But for the last assignment, you're gonna save yourself a lot of time if you can reuse as much as possible from the dashboard. And you're gonna be using the same data set. So pick data set that is on your topic. Well, there are several data sets to choose from. Choose something that you're interested in, right? It could be something like a cars data, but for the cars data, well, some data, some of the data sets have several options for the field of interest. If you're working with the cars data, you can predict car efficiency on the state roads or on a highway. All right, there are several choices, but look at the data sets. And for some of them, I included the URL for the description. I included the URL for columns descriptions for some of the data. Okay. So, well, let me see what questions you might have. Guys, do you have questions for me? Any issues, concerns, or any questions? Please ask. Ask. Now is the time for questions. Anybody wants to ask anything? Let me see in the chat. Oh, you don't export the slides to your laptop. No, you will need to adjust the zoom and do the presentation on a VGA. We don't export the story to the to your personal PC. Am I still sharing? Yes. So okay. You don't export it. You would need to play it. Oops. Oh, what's going on? I'm trying to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, I'm sharing my screen now, right? I'm still sharing. Okay, so if I go to this content here, okay. So this is oops. It starts with the word story. Okay. For some unknown reason, it's doing now what I don't want to be doing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here, well, what you could do is you can change it to the full screen. Okay. 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 So basically here, you would need to play it and you would need to adjust the zoom and like in here, see this, you can do the full screen. See, it's much better when I do it on full screen, it's adjusting. See, this is much better. If you do the full screen and if you minimize this, oh, see this? Much better, way better, see? And then before you do that, you adjust the zoom. You may need to play around with this, okay? I hope it makes sense. And also take a look, I can click on this arrow. See this, the visualizations have arrows. So if I want to talk more about specific visualization, I can just maximize it and minimize it. There is a question about the decision tree. I'm gonna show you. Okay. 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 Anessa for the missing date. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. Ineda, right? Hopefully I pronounce it right. For a missing data, you have several options. You would need to go back to the presentation we had last time, where I showed you how to replace the missing value of the numeric column with the column average. For categorical column, you can use the predefined value to replace. Like in here, okay, let me go back to the content and let me go back to the claims and weather data module. Okay, what I did in this data module here is the following. Oops, come on, load. Okay, I have a column in here and the column name is income, right? And income has a lot of values that are missing. So I went to the properties of that column, and one of the properties is what? One of the properties is expression, right? So I edited the expression and I said this: if income is missing, then I set it to average. Otherwise, I set it to income. That's how I handle it. Okay? What we also did last time is that we defined the filter. If you see, do you see this funnel? It means that the data has an embedded filter on it, right? I can go to manage filters and see this. I created the filter if effective to date. I want to keep records only if effective to date is not missing, right? So that's that. To handle missing values, you can remove the rows that have missing values, but there's a problem is you losing data, right? You have a risk of losing data. You can replace missing values with a column average. You can replace with a predefined value, or if you have a column that's missing values for most of the data, you can just hide that column altogether, right? So hopefully that answered, and I'm gonna go back to decision trees, okay? Yes, exactly. Categorical and numerical have numerical columns have different calculations. Well, because how are you going to take the average of something like the I believe that was claim reason, wasn't it? One of the columns, one of the categorical columns that had missing values, that was claim reason. How are you going to take an average of the claim reasons? There is no way, right? So instead, you have to do this. You have to say if claim reason is missing, then we're going to treat it as other. Otherwise, we keep it as is, right? Hopefully, most of you, if you have not had a chance, please go back to that playlist and watch that video. That will help you a lot. And I will try my best to make time to record more videos, okay? I'm going to try to make time to record some more videos if you find those helpful, because it's like little subtopics. And last semester I had more videos, but we used different version of Cognos. So now I have to record them again, okay? But anyway, so that's how you handle, and I'm gonna go back to decision trees. I'll go back to it. It's a big topic, okay? So, and so for decision trees, okay, well, in this specific data, big problem is predict the total claim amount, okay? The whole idea is what can we do? Can we make a model for this data so that if I get the new claim record, if I get a brand new customer, right? And brand new insurance claim, right? I know the claim reason, I know the policy type, I know the customer information, the type of coverage, type of accidents the customer has. I should be able to somehow use that information to estimate the total claim amount. So that's what you're going to use a decision tree for. You're going to build that model. And I started covering the topic last time, I believe, but because everybody was tired, it was a lot of topics, so I went in and I covered it again today in more depth. So let's go back. Claims and weather data exploration. Hopefully, oh, this is the best I have seen. See this is the decision tree. Here, this node represents all data that we have in the data set, right? So then I'm looking at my location code. Is location code rural? If yes, I take this path. If it's urban, I take this path, right? So if it's urban, right? If it's urban, I hover here and I see the average claim amount for urban, right? Am I done? No. I can look at the vehicle. I'm taking vehicle class and I keep going until I reach the leaf node. I'm gonna pause the recording, okay? But now what you see now is the best I could see for the decision tree. So guys, important. When you do the assignment, you need to take this to the full screen. That gives you the better view. So I just learned something. So what you will do is this. See this here, the slide out? At the slide out here, you can toggle, you can do full screen. Right now I exited full screen. When you go to the full screen mode, right? See that little, it's a virtual machine in here. When you go here, when you go to the full screen mode, it's much easier to see. See that? Now I can see my decision tree. I'm going to try to make time. I'll do my best somehow, somewhere, maybe somewhere this week or somewhere in the weekend to make time to do a recording for decision tree in depth. If I'm gonna try, guys, okay? And I'll try to add the recording to that list. Because see here, I finally got it to show. It was not the case in the older version, but now this is showing a perfect picture of the tree. This is the root node here. It represents all data. Then remember when we looked at the driver analysis, right? What was the top driver, one-way driver? It was a location code, right? The single driver with the highest predictive strength was location code. So that's a first splitting column that is used in a tree. And here we go, we're looking at the location code. If it is suburban, we take this path. And when you hover, right, or when you click, actually, see this, I click, it's gonna give me what? When you hover, it's gonna give me the average total claim amount of all records, of all claims that fall into this node, right? Then I keep going. And in the slides, I summarize some of the stopping criteria. It's using the information gain for the numeric columns of interest. But if it's a categorical, it's gonna look at the classification accuracy, okay? So this one is a numeric in this case. It's gonna show different color code based on the average. Did I briefly answer your question? There will be the recording. I'm horrible with name Fragena. Did I pronounce it correct? So they're gonna be the recording. Okay, cool. Yes. So I'm gonna try my best to make time to make the something for decision tree. Okay. Hopefully this weekend. All right. And keep checking the playlist. I'm gonna keep adding to it. We'll try. Okay. Any more questions? And no, you cannot export slides, but again, you can take screenshots, etc. This is perfect. I got it to work. At least I got it to work now, okay? All right. And see, I'm collapsing, right? And you got the sunburst, right? Oh, now it's synchronized. Yeah, take a look at it. The first circle is the first column that is used for the fourth split. Suburban, rural, and urban. And the percentage, right? Mainly the purpose is to see the percentage of data to which this rule applies. See this? 63% of my data is for what? Suburban location, right? Then I further look, suburban, what's the next driver? Is a vehicle class, right? So that's the next circle. And I see this breakdown and etc. Right? If I wanted to, I could see further breakdown for urban. See this for the urban. I see the next circle is going to be whatever the next driver is, right? The next split in that branch of the tree, right? It's a next split in that specific branch of the tree, and etc. I can drill down here, okay? So I have to make time to create a video because I had some technical problems in the beginning where I could not see this tree like this nicely, okay? So I'm gonna add this to my list, okay, guys? Okay, so any other questions? Anything you want to ask me? Please do. I know you're tired, but it's a time well spent, okay? And I'm going to do my best, you know. Do I ever lie? Well, you'll find out, okay? Anything else? Anything I can help you with? Please, guys, do tell me now. Going once, going twice, or you can unmute yourself and speak too right now, since not that many people. No? Okay, so you're gonna get this recording and the slides, okay? And I owe you something, you know, okay? So now I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna end this session. And good luck, guys, with assignments, okay? Okay, so I need recording. Stop recording. Oops, did it stop? There we go. Okay. So hopefully that helped. All right. Good luck.